In fact, the more we learn about our solar system and the universe, the more unique our Earth becomes. As home to over 1 million different species of life, and that's very conservative, each with its own special criteria for survival, the Earth repeatedly reinforces the fact that God orchestrated each detail necessary for terrestrial existence. For thus saith the Lord, who created the heavens, God himself, who formed the earth and made it. He hath established it, he created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I'm the Lord, and there is none else. Isaiah 45:18. Dolphins and echolocation. We're just talking about some creatures of the sea and sky. Just a few of them. Observing the natural world around us, we're astonished at the sophistication seen in everyday life. Author Jonathan Sephardi calls to our attention the fact that a number of creatures function by echolocation. That is, in the water or sometime in the air, like bats in the air, but we're talking about dolphins in the water here. You screech, and the sound strikes an object, comes back to your ear, and you know specifically how big it is, how far away it is, how fast it's moving, all from that screech. That's astounding. But all of that happened naturally. Isn't evolution marvelous? Well. The object's speed and location are determined by the Doppler effect, interpreting variations in sound and pitch of the returning signal. A dolphin can detect a fish the size of a golf ball 230 feet away. That's astounding. All of that is designed. An expert in chaos theory demonstrated that the dolphin's click pattern is mathematically designed to provide the best information. Astounding. Evolutionists are compelled to admit, and I used to be one of them, compelled to admit that the ancestors of today's dolphins had an ear structure that suggests they could echolocate as well as their modern relatives can. They had to in order to survive. The dolphin produces clicks by pressurizing the nasal system, then manipulating air through the phonic lips. The click loudness automatically adjusts for distance. Behaving as a sound lens, they have special oil-filled sinuses in the lower jaw, we'll talk about those in a moment, that pass the echoes to the inner ear. Accompanying this, they have a melon fatty protrusion on the forehead that focuses the sound waves into a beam on different lipids. Superb design. Incredible flight of insects. Just a few to show you that all of this is interrelated and all of this is designed. According to conventional analysis, insects generate only about 1/3 to 1/2 of the lift needed to carry their weight. Wow. I wondered how a bumblebee can fly. But with their wings, they only generate 1/3 to 1/2 of the airlift necessary to carry their weight. Now, it's been discovered that leading edge vortex generates extra lift by lowering the atmospheric pressure in that specific area. And that's the way the Wright brothers, Wilbur and Orville, that's the way they built a mechanism to fly, as opposed to all the others who were trying to do it and simply used kite systems. They observed the insects and the birds and recognized a slight variation, and they were able to change the lives of all of us. They were Bible-believing Christians. Their father was a traveling bishop. They lost their mother early, but they knew where she was, so they wanted to live their lives and trust their Lord so they could join their mother, and they observed creation going on. In insects, these leading edge vortexes generate the extra lift needed because the vortex stays stuck to the leading edge of the wing, that air pocket stays stuck long enough for the propagation. Astounding. Now, what if we had greater atmospheric pressure? Wouldn't that be nice? In the biosphere, and I started the lecture an hour ago talking about the biosphere, We're going to increase the atmospheric pressure. How much? Who was listening? Raise a hand. It is now 14.7 psi to 24 psi. That's right. At 22 psi, the entire blood plasma begins to saturate with oxygen. So at 24 psi, over a period of time, we've got full saturation of the blood plasma, not only the hemoglobin picking up its 4 primary atoms and then associate atoms, or oxygen molecules. But in addition to that, we have the entire blood plasma saturated with oxygen molecules. No wonder they lived so long. No wonder dinosaurs could run around. But in addition to that, with that 24 psi pounds per square inch, we're going to put some hummingbirds in there. Hummingbirds have to work so hard to fly. We have instrumentation on order that's capable of analyzing the chemistry of those organisms compared to the chemistry of the control organisms. Stay tuned, because the future is bright. In addition to that, we're going to be monitoring how many times in the ambient control conditions a hummingbird has to flap his wings compared to how many times he would be able to flap his wings there, and much less, and would be able to live so much longer.